What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm gonna break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm gonna break down what's happening with the overall market thus far, what Jerome Powell just said that's very important, how things are looking, in my personal opinion, for the charts out there. But before I break into all this information, let me just mention a few things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, in just about 2 weeks. Anyways, for the markets, I want to talk about this news right over here. So basically, as far as Tesla and the market goes, I just want to make it very clear that we're seeing some interesting stuff. We're seeing some stocks like Tesla really trying to break out right now. Same thing with Nvda, but other stocks like SPY are kind of range bound alongside the QQQs. So I'll be breaking down more details about this over the next couple of minutes. But let's first talk about Jerome Powell. So the guy gave a speech today. He didn't really say anything too insane, just the same old stuff. He mentioned that the economy is still relatively strong in his opinion. He mentioned that so far it's holding up very well. Same thing with the labor market. It's still quite tight, but once again, nowhere near as horrendous as a lot of people were thinking it would be. And he mentioned that the economy is very resilient. Now, he said he's confident the Fed has control over the current situation. He's confident in that. He's confident that inflation will eventually meet their targets and that they've made a lot of progress, but he's not as confident for the shorter term. He's more confident for the longer term. He thinks that that's going to trump everything for the short term. So he kind of gave us a warning about that. Jerome Powell also mentioned that the Fed has, he kind of implied that the Fed does have more work to be done, but once again, things are under control. He's very confident in what else they're doing. And he also said that as far as tightening goes, the Fed is yet to determine what they're going to be doing next. So it was more like him trying to tell everyone that the economy is doing well. He's very confident that they have everything under control. They're learning from previous mistakes. And relative to what we've seen in the past, like the 1970s, they've made a lot more progress a lot quicker, and they're doing a good job. So he's trying to kind of induce more confidence for the markets. That's why the market kind of pumped a bit when he spoke. And that's pretty much it. He didn't say anything else that was too crazy. At 11:30 a.m., we just got the bill auctions as well. This actually it didn't really cause much for the markets, and there's not really anything else coming out for the rest of the day. The next catalyst for the market is going to be CPI, which comes out tomorrow. So we'll see how things go. So with that being said, let's talk about the markets now. What do I see for the charts? How are things looking? In my personal opinion. Honestly, guys, some tickers are breaking out, looking very strong. Others are looking kind of flat. So let's talk about that. We first have Tesla with a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure, got a nice breakout from this white trend line. We broke past 175, so our target was 178 to 180. We reached this resistance area. If we do break it, we're going to be looking for 182. If it rejects off here, we're going to be looking for 175 to be retested potentially. But overall, it's still holding up very, very well. Tesla's looking bullish overall. Even if it does retrace a bit, it could continue to push higher, and there is more upside potential from a technical standpoint. But please remember that technicals are not everything for Tesla, because what else is going to depend on or what else Tesla will depend on is going to be CPI and other pieces of data. So we're not really confirmed yet. But overall, from a technical standpoint, Tesla is holding up quite well. Now, about SPY, what is SPY doing, in my personal opinion? As of right now, SPY is kind of range bound. So we have 522.66 as our resistance. Then we also have 520 as support. You guys can see the two yellow lines I have drawn out here. We've been going back and forth for quite some time. There's not really much changing thus far. In my personal opinion, SPY came down to this 518 area today. Then it started to push back up. Could this be a liquidity grab before they're trying to push the market higher? Or are we about to get a rug pull? That's going to depend on CPI. And I think that for the rest of the day, SPY is just going to shuffle in this range around the 521 area. Could go a little lower, but it might just continue to shuffle. I think that's all that's going to happen for the rest of the day. It's going to be kind of boring. But then the big move is going to come once CPI comes out. So I'll make another video about that later. For Nvda is also range bound. We have support at 892 and 900, and also at 908 as resistance. You can see it's been fighting 908. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure, so technicals do look bullish. It does favor a push to 920 plus. So that looks more likely on Nvda, but just to be safe, you have to watch for confirmation. It does look like it wants to go up to 920, so we'll wait and see if that ends up being the case. But this chart does favor the bulls a bit more, so we'll see what happens from there. For the QQQ, okay, the QQQ has resistance at 444. If we break through this, we're going to be pushing even higher. If we end up rejecting, we'll be looking at 442 as our support, followed by 440. We're holding up quite nice. We actually broke this high right here. So I would say that the QQQ has more potential. It could go even higher, but we have to give this a bit more time. Yes, we're looking a little bit more bullish, technically speaking, but that also depends on what happens with CPI. Then I'm going to talk about Apple and start talking about AMC and GameStop after that. So for Apple has a slight bearish divergence, kind of developing, so it might dip a little bit more. But I'm going to be looking at this 20 EMA, so it's like 186 flat area, and we could get a little bounce off that. So look for a little retracement and a bounce on Apple. If we lose 185, so if we lose 186.5, we're going to be looking at 185 as a potential target. If that fails us, we dip lower. If we break past 187, look for a push for 188 and 190. Overall, the chart is looking a bit more bullish. It could actually dip a little bit and then try to rebound. So watch for that overall. Now let's talk about the two big ones that a lot of people are looking at, AMC and GME. So what's happening is we had not the best of things today. So AMC got a nice push. It was looking bullish, but then we got halted. This could be because of many different reasons. Sometimes halts could be used as manipulation, in my personal opinion. But another thing is there was a lot of excessive transactions, lots of imbalances in order flow. And then with that happening, AMC got this nice rejection. It's actually dipping quite a bit right now. So AMC's been dipping. We're down to 8.68. We're actually continuing to fall. Our next target is going to be the $7 area if we do end up losing that. And we are looking more bearish on AMC right now. We're actually starting to dip. Same thing on GME, just temporarily, right? It doesn't have to last forever. This happened because of the halts. The halts really hurt the momentum, and we halted and started dropping, and that's what's really hurting us right now. So that's why I told everyone, look, if you were trading AMC, you have to watch it, wait for the halts to be over, and that could have been a good exit position. When this thing was pushing yesterday, we had good exits today because now it's starting to fall back down. At least in terms of like day trading, scalping options. Though I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about like long-term shares. I know a lot of people hold them for different reasons, but right now AMC's halted. It is looking more bearish. It looks to me like it's going to dip a little bit more. So I just want to call that out. For GME also got halted, and that's part of why AMC kind of followed the trend. It's also looking a little bit weaker since we lost 50. We'll be looking at 42 as support if we end up losing this 50 area for confirmation. So we'll just have to give it a little bit more time. But things are still looking kind of weak for this. In terms of Amazon, we're kind of rejecting off 185, so it does look a little bit weaker for now. But whether or not this continues to fall will also depend on CPI. So CPI will either launch this back up to 187 plus and 190, or we could get a rug pull from here. We're looking kind of weaker technically speaking, so it could be retracing back down to the 184s, very low 184 area, but we'll have to see if that's confirmed or not. For Meta, we'll also be watching to see if 470, we get a rejection off 470, or if we break through it and start pushing to this imbalance. So we'll have to be very patient. If anything, guys, just be patient and see how things go. But just know that right now, these charts are looking a little bit weaker, hitting resistance, but CPI will determine if this continues or not. So that being said, with the markets, we're still range bound. SPY, like I said, could dip a little bit more, but then it all depends on CPI from this point. I think we're just going to be trading sideways for the time being, and we'll be very, very patient. But don't forget, guys, Tesla's still holding up very well. It's actually outperforming the market. Nice inverse head and shoulders breakout. And Nvda is also building strength, has more upside potential. So those are two big ones I'm watching, at least for now. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully this update video was insightful and helpful. I'll see you guys in just a couple of hours. Thank you, and we'll see how things go. Thanks again, guys, and peace out.